Okay, hi everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All praise and adoration belongs to Allah, the Lord of incomparable and exhaustive majesty. Beseech Allah to shower His blessing, His mercy, and His noblest of mankind, Muhammad Sallallahu His household, His companions, relatives, and those that follow the way of His teaching till the judgment. And inshallah, today we shall be looking at the very vital topic, which is the spirituality and physicality. Spirituality and physicality. When we say spirituality, what does it imply? Spirituality has to do with something metaphysical, something that connected with heaven, celestial concepts. Spirituality is not something physical, it's not something accessible, it's not something ordinary. So spirituality is an extraordinary metaphysical concept that has connection with the heavenly and the godly intervention. So therefore, spirituality is so key, so germane. It's connected with the power from above. It's connected with the power from heaven. It's not only something physical, but physicality is something ordinary, something that is normal, that is very normal. It's not extraordinary, it's something normal. Physicality, and it's more or less like the physical appearance, the physique, how big, how small, how high, or how short something is. We can physically measure or assess the properties of such thing. That is why we have the physical properties of everything around or within this atmosphere. Water has its physical properties. Air has its physical properties. Land, chemicals, what have you, human being. So what define your physical well-being, your physical appearance, is that your physicality. And this physicality we're talking about, as I am now, if the physicality is the only thing I have in me, I can't talk, I can't see, I can't walk, I can't express myself. So I am a combination of both the spirituality and the physicality. That is why it's so germane that when Almighty God created the human being, when He created the first human, which is Adam, He said, we breathe in him our spirit. The spirit that Almighty God breathed in him that make him a living being. Spirituality is something that had living properties to you. So if you don't have the spirituality, you'll be more or less like just inanimate, something that cannot, act. So therefore, we need both spirituality and physicality to have a living properties. And the spirituality alone cannot do it in our own real world, because it's both of them that are so germane, so important, but one is important than the other. That is why by the by the definition of Almighty God, He does not. God doesn't base His assessment and evaluation on physical appearance. He bases it on your spiritual growth, level of your spiritual um, upliftment. But looking at human psychology, human assessment, it is we that base uh, evaluation on physical appearance. When you see somebody who is very wealthy, who is huge, who is big, we believe that such person should be the foremost, should be the forefront, should be referred above those who lack such structure or fabric. So physicality and spirituality, two of them are so important, but the most important is spirituality. That is why things that has to do with spirituality are more of value. They might be very small, so minute, but more of value, more essential, they're more significant. If you look at, for example, the spirit that Almighty God breathed in us is not physical, it's very infinitesimal. But without the spirit we're talking about, there's no growth. So how do we strike a balance between these two uh, premises or two factors, your physicality and your spirituality? Today, most human beings, we jettison, we ignore our spiritual aspect of our lives at the expense of this physical or you know requirement. We eat on daily basis, we dress, we go to work, we take drug, we do a lot of things that add value to our physical well-being. But what about the spiritual growth? Our spiritual growth is so important, so key as well, so germane. We don't give it attention, and that is why, if you look at the society today, our environment, because people are so much keen about the physical development, that's why we see a lot of vices, a lot of lapses, a lot of loopholes, hiccups everywhere. Everybody's after, how do I develop myself mentally, physically, at the expense of the spiritual growth? So it's so important that we go back to the basis, to the status quo, so that we can get it right. That is why this physical appearance, this texture, this body, once you die, once you know, give up the ghost, that's the end. It's rotting in the health. It's rotting. It becomes, decomposed. It becomes decomposed. But the only one that remains, the spirits of life that Almighty God has given unto you. So it's ephemeral. The physical appearance is ephemeral. Is perishable. So how do you now give attention to something that is ephemeral, something perishable, at the expense of things that is eternal? So what is eternal is what you and I is are expected to give attention. So it's so important we should get this right. Should limit our, you know, hustling, struggling towards fulfilling the physical growth alone. We should try as much as possible to strike a balance to combine both and give priority to the spiritual growth. So therefore, how do we strike a balance? How do we grow spiritually? Number one, you should be aware. Awareness, knowledge. Awareness and knowledge. If you are oblivious, you you know, ignoramus of the importance of spiritual growth, of spiritual, requirement that you need as an individual to develop, there's a problem. So the first one is knowledge and awareness. And knowledge is so important, so valuable that we don't take it with levity hands. Knowledge is number one in life. And where there is knowledge, every other thing falls behind. So the first thing is awareness and knowledge. Seek knowledge about spirituality. Do your findings about spiritual growth. Number two is value. You must attach value to your spirituality. If you don't value it, you can't fix it. You can't fulfill the need to, uplift it. So spirituality, you must value it. Number three is what we call spiritual activities, spiritual exercise. When you exercise your body, you gym, you articulate, you start having what we call growth around your body. You start moving, everything. Same thing goes with spiritual drillings, exercise, articulation. These are so much important, one of which is fasting. You want to grow spiritually, you must engage in fasting. Fasting, avoiding meal, avoiding sex, avoiding, most things that has to do with human nature, things that has to do with human nature within a particular time frame, and you lift from human nature to the angelic nature, because the angel don't drink, don't eat, don't have sex, don't go to party. They avoid things of this life. You are not to avoid it forever, just within limited time. Fasting, it's hard value to you. You start growing spiritually. And this fast we're talking about, it's re-energize you from within. It connects your soul with your creator. So when you fast, things around you, your hand is fasting, your eyes is fasting, your nose is fasting, your mouth is fasting, your hair is fasting. So you avoid things that will corrupt them. And so once you're not corrupted, you start moving up the pyramid. You start growing spiritually. Number 3 is vigil. You must keep vigil. You must wake in the midnight to, communicate with your God, to be in communion with your creating. Vigil is so important, so essential. You don't joke with it. Keep vigil. Wake in the midnight. Pray to my God. That is the time with which you are directly connected. There's a strong network between you and creating. There's no demarcation, no barricade between you, both of you, and your God. And this will make you a reborn human being spiritually. Number 4 thing you also need to do if you want to grow spiritually is you need to also have spiritual mannered. Spiritually mannered. Spiritual act, spiritual behavior. That spiritual behavior, one of which is truthfulness, patience, endurance, obedience to parents, conforming to the rules of law, avoiding evils. These are spiritual acts. So you must live a pious life, a righteous life. If you really want to grow spiritually, that's why we say spirituality and physicality. This spiritual well-being we're talking about, you can't display it if you are not physically well-being. So you must be physically well-being and mentally okay. That's why you need your physicality by eating good food, by fulfilling your medical requirement, by doing enough exercise, by avoiding things that will run you down, and what have you. Such as what we need as an individual. And once you are able to do this, you are good to go. You grow spiritually, you grow mentally, you grow physically, and you strike a balance. We pray to Almighty God to accept this little as an act of worship and meet us at the point of our need. Thank you.